Good morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time of day it may be when you're listening to us, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Onward to Victory podcast. I'm Joseph Anthony. The guy right next to me is Palmer Johnson. Palmer, the season is over. It's been over for just about a month now as we're recording this. It is April 14th, the night of April 14th. But today was important for numerous reasons. We'll get into that later. But Palmer, you see the title of the podcast, The Portal Be Portaling. Of course, as it is, change comes for us all. George Mason is not, of course, immune to what happens in the portal from this roster. Multiple players having left. Let's go through them all, Palmer. I think probably the two that we didn't want to happen, but we're not particularly surprised to see happen, did happen. Corey Mincy and Riley Allensbach both leaving the Patriots. By the time we've recorded this, they've actually both found their next spots. Corey Mincy will be heading to the SEC in South Carolina. Riley Allensbach will be heading to join the new regime at the University of Cincinnati under Jared Calhoun. Not, like I said, Palmer, not necessarily a surprise, but still hard to see both of Mason's second team All A10 players leaving after just 1 year.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of knew it was coming, especially with Allensbach with the big man market. It was like, yeah, that guy, you're 6'11", yeah, he's gone. If you're 6'11" and can play basketball, a Power Five team will pick you up, as we've seen over the years. Whereas like this guy stinks and Allensbach didn't stink, but this guy stinks and he's 6'11". Power Five team's still getting him. So anybody
Yep.
with size who can play, they're gonna get taken.
Yep, I would agree. Certainly I think some interesting fits here. It's very interesting that we've now had 2 straight years of Mason starting center, heading slightly northwest to Cincinnati, Ohio. Jalen Haynes last year obviously didn't play this year because of a serious knee injury he suffered, but now Allensbach heading up his own way to UC. And then Mincy, I think it was kind of expected. He's from Georgia. I think it was kind of expected he head back down there. The SEC was calling. South Carolina is an interesting place for him, but he'll replace Meechie Johnson as kind of their primary scorer from the backcourt.
Yeah, it's the SEC. They're gonna pay. If the numbers that we've seen are real, then Mason was never going to keep him. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one of those situations. Now let's get into ones, not necessarily that we didn't expect, but maybe we didn't want to see happen. The big one, Jahari Long, he announced himself this afternoon he was heading to Wichita State. Totally new backcourt there. He'll join up with Chattanooga transfer Jordan Friesen, one of the, I think, underrated guards in the transfer portal. Palmer, very talented himself. That's a very interesting backcourt setting up there in Kansas in the American next year that Long is joining. Obviously, one that hurts, though. That's a player I think that a lot of us assumed would be back just because of his connection to Tony Skinn. It is tough to see him heading to Wichita State, though.
Yeah, we just kind of penciled him in because it's like spend with Skin at three schools, he'll stay, and then we all get the notification he's in the portal. Like, oh, okay, I guess somebody's calling, and it was Wichita State. And as you said, they got Friesen too. That's a that's gonna be a lot of that's a lot for Wichita State to bring in.
And you have to say, it's almost very similar where you think Long, even though he's taller, might be the primary point guard option, and very similar to how Corey Mincy was kind of more of a two guard in the offensive structure. It feels like potentially Wichita State might be doing that there, but we're not here to talk about Wichita State. We're talking about George Mason. And that means all three of Mason's top scorers from last season are gone. You also include in Fat Hill. You include in Masai Troutman, who are graduating. That's a lot of scoring talent gone. Mason rebuilding from the bottom again. They also lose some of their upstanding talent. Devin Booker decided to hit the portal as well. Yeah, I know, Palmer, you were kind of hoping to keep him. The defensive ceiling looked high. It seems like more of a playtime thing, though, than maybe chasing after the money type of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I assume he's gonna move down. Because if you're, I've always thought like if you want to take full advantage of that sophomore jump, should be in the same place where your freshman year was, especially if you were getting in the rotation. Clearly, you're clearly like, they want you here. Like they were playing
Mhm.
you when they didn't really need to. Uh, and it's just, man, it does stink because it is like, if you can't keep Devin Booker, who can you keep?
Yep.
Freshmen just don't stay anymore. Uh, I think in my time I've seen two freshmen stay, and they were Blake Jones and Stas Sivka. So one of them is a D1 player.
Well, we're going to leave that at that there. And speaking of Stas Sivka, he currently is the fifth Patriot in the portal, I believe. That would be Sivka. He's in the portal. Is this maybe we talk about potential one for playtime here. This feels like another one of those situations here, Palmer.
Yeah, I think Stas was just a nice idea that into his junior year, it's like, I mean, Stas is old. I think he's a 21-year-old, 22-year-old sophomore. Uh, if you're not cracking the rotation like consistently at 22, and like, I think they just kind of realized like, maybe we can get somebody who's as good as we think Stas could be, instead of hoping Stas becomes this player. Uh, the movement's crazy. He had these great movement skills and theoretical shooting, and the shooting just didn't happen this year. Uh, felt like he would felt like if he just hit one of those threes every game, you feel happy about it, but it just didn't happen this year. It's kind of a fan favorite, which stinks that he left, but I say left. He hasn't officially left yet, but we're assuming based on some stuff that he will not be back. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah, certainly, I mean you mentioned that kind of the threes didn't fall this year. If he goes 15 of 28, maybe not 15 of 20, but if he goes 13 of 28 from three in conference play instead of 8 from 28, we're maybe talking about a different situation here with Sauce, but again, these guys are going to eventually want playtime. That's just going to be an inevitability of what happens. That's just part of the game. That's part of how this works. So when they're not getting that, especially in this age where money is being thrown around everywhere, people are going to want to go find situations where they could play to try and put themselves in a spot where they can potentially make more money. And that is even the international students who are transfer NIL laws are a little bit different. Finally, we do have to mention Isaiah Skin also hit the portal. Obviously, not maybe a part of the plan potentially here. Questions if Isaiah was ever really a D1 player necessarily. He could grow into one, but good for. I think he's certainly looking another player right now. Certainly looking for a place where he can play basketball.
yeah, I'd be happy if he landed D1. Could see him going high D2. Even I mean, he doesn't need a scholarship. Somebody can pay for his school. I think he should value play time very high on his list
Yeah,
of priorities.
I think so too. But Palmer, the great thing about recording today, we were going to record yesterday. Some stuff came up that we couldn't. We're recording tonight instead. Worked out pretty well for us, Palmer, because instead of just talking about hypothetical portal gets, we're talking about actual portal gets today. Palmer, new Patriots signed on today. First one, we'll talk about the freshman, the rising sophomore now from Sydney, Australia. Last year played for Loyola, Maryland. The 6'9", 230-pound forward, Emmett Adair. Adair is what I'm calling him already, Palmer. He's got some stats behind him. Third team All Patriot League as a freshman, All Patriot League freshman team. We talk about, if he was a rising senior with those backgrounds, we might not be super happy with that. But as a freshman who's got that in the background, there's a lot of room for growth here. The offensive ceiling is high. We've already got our article out on Adair. Palmer, I mean, we could talk about kind of what you said in that article and what we both said. But what do you think of the Patriots' first newest addition?
It's a pretty good swing. Clearly he can score. That's the big thing, is like, this guy can score. This guy can shoot at the rim. This guy can shoot. Uh, he shot 31% from three, which is like fine for 6'9". But the indicators surrounding that, he shot really well from the free throw line and really well from mid range, which is normally like, oh, this guy could be a real shooter. Uh, Everything on offense is like, wow, this guy's going to be awesome. Especially if you scale it down, because Loyola Maryland was not a great team,
No.
as you might guess. They played Mason tough, but man, they were not a good team, and he was asked to do a lot, especially as a true freshman who is playing in Australia. You know what I mean? Like this guy is playing against Australians. Uh, and then he's just going against college kids. So
Yeah, I think I mean, I talk about this in my part of the article here on Adair, but I think the offensive ceiling, I think, is very clearly high. There's a lot of positive signs. He's not a big man where he struggles to finish at the rim. He finishes very well at the rim. The 3-point volume is high enough where it could be real. This isn't like an Allenstock situation where he shot, I think, something like 28 threes or maybe a little bit more than that, but he shot a below 50, I believe, below 50 in terms of number of threes in his second year at Samford before becoming a Patriot. Where we didn't really know if that was real. It kind of did turn out to be real a little bit, obviously. But this is a guy who can shoot the threes, who's comfortable being within the two there. Obviously, going against a lot of Patriot League defenses, that's going to be a big step up for him internally in the paint. He's going to have to put on some muscle, going to have to put on some size. But the thing that's been very, very clear about the Tony Skinn era from day one is that this coaching staff could find big men. I mean, Palmer, you just name after name from Amari Kelly to Jalen Haynes, Riley this year, Emmanuel Conga, who's staying around. We got that announcement yesterday, too. Conga staying around. He will be a focal point of the build. It's going to be critical to keep him around. Great news to keep him around as well. Love that guy. The King returns to Fairfax for next year. But again, it's just name after name of very competent big men that this coaching staff has found. It's hard to not trust them at this point when it comes to guys who are going to play in the front court.
yeah, I mean, as you point out, uh, I mean, every season of Skin and Curran is the big man coach. All 3 seasons of that with them, the center has been a guy where it's like, this guy was probably be a good starter, and then it ended up being like, oh, this guy was all conference, or near, or honorable mention, because Kelly coming in, like, that was he'll be an average starting center, and then it's like, oh, he could have made all conference.
I still
Haynes.
think if Mason finishes like sixth instead of ninth that year, that Kelly's a third teamer. I thought he was robbed.
Yeah. I mean, he just had a crazy skill set where it's like, what was going on in Wilmington? Uh, and then Haynes, I mean, you thought, but you didn't know because he had sat out a year, and you're like, this guy was really good at East Tennessee State. And then Allensbach, coming down from Stanford, not playing too much, and then he was the number one option in conference play. So it's just kind of one of those, like, if you're feeling iffy on big men, lean towards just like, hey, Curran's figured this out. This guy just got to pumps out big men, and it just kind of works.
Yeah.
It just does. I
Yeah,
mean,
no, I mean, you're not wrong.
because I feel like there's been a couple of big men that didn't work out, and somebody else stepped up a lot more. Like Emmett Drew didn't really work out, but it didn't really matter because Haynes was just better. Haynes
He was
was
a dominant presence.
insane. Yeah, and it's just whatever he's doing is working.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Great way to put it there. And we're talking about front court pickups. It's the second one. Michael Marcus, excuse me, Michael Marcus from Appalachian State. He's a rising junior, spent the last 2 years with the Mountaineers in Boone, North Carolina. You ever been to Boone, Palmer? It's a nice little town. Nice little town of Boone, in the mountains there of North Carolina. But again, we talk about this very big physical guy. Actually played mostly at the four last year, excuse me, next to Appalachia starting center Sean Wilson. Very versatile player, but at 6'9", 255, imagine that guy trying to guard you on the wing there. You're not driving on that.
Yeah, I mean, when you see 6'9", 250, you're thinking like, this guy. I mean, this guy's just a true big man, just chilling in the paint. And then you watch him, and you're like, whoa, this guy moves. Like, I think obviously this is, I'm not saying he's the same type of player, but like the Haynes movement where it's like this guy's massive and he also moves crazy. Uh, I think he kind of moves similarly, not with the ball in his hands, not with the ball in his hands. That was
Mhm.
Haynes' superpower, was like I can also do with the ball in the hands, but more this is him is more for Marcus is more for defense.
Mhm.
Because you see him switched on to Ohio State's. We watched Ohio State's game
Mhm.
for scouting, and like these are, this is a Power Five. This school made the tournament, 8 or 9 seed, and it's like, man, he was switching onto their wings on the perimeter, and it just wasn't a problem at all, which is just crazy from an Appalachian State, you know, forward. Uh, this guy, like, there's a lot of intrigue there.
Yeah, he's a really interesting prospect. And again, I'm not going to turn down interesting when it comes to the portal, especially when it comes to front court depth. Obviously, the depth at the four last year, this past season, was a problem, Palmer. Like, no beating around the bush there was a problem when it was clear that Dola wasn't working out. We had no one who really had the size to fit. Now you have Adair who can play the 4 and 5. You have Marcus who can play the 4 and the 5. And you've got Shane Pendergrass coming in. Okay, so that problem might seem to be solved for next year, Palmer. It seems like to me at least.
Yeah, I mean, I view Adair as a 4, and I don't know what I view Marcus as. Uh, Adair played 5 at Maryland, and on defense it just didn't work. I said in my article, that's a second baseman playing shortstop. Uh, if Mason trusts him out as starting center, like there's got to be a really strong defensive 4 next to him. Uh, I think it can work because he's such a good mover, but I think Mason has the information advantage of knowing, like, okay, this is what it looks like when you play him like this. They'll do better than that. But yeah, I mean, they've decided the 4 is not going to be the problem this year.
Yes. Yes.
Which, because I mean, uh, I love Stas, but uh, there were some times where it's like, I mean, this guy's just not big enough to guard 5s or maybe some 4s, and it just turned into we had Schrodinger's cat at the 4, where it's just like, man, I think the guy on the bench is better, and then they came in like, okay, well now there's just endless bench options.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean Pendergrass and Mendy being your right now third and fourth forwards. I mean Pendergrass could have been the second, and you're fine with it, so
Yep.
you will take that.
Yeah. It's certainly, certainly, like you said, it's not going to be a problem. The coaching staff has clearly declared it's not going to be a problem this year. And also, I think very interestingly, and we'll get into it when we talk about the visits so far this year, not a whole lot of rising seniors so far, Palmer, either in the visits or in the recruitments. A lot of younger guys, and it is kind of copying a strategy a little bit, it felt like, from St. Louis last year. Maybe not necessarily in terms of where these players are coming from or current talent, but certainly in recruiting a lot of guys who are coming up from their freshman or sophomore year. Trying to guys who are going to be hungry, guys who are still developing, and maybe guys who are still a little bit coachable. A lot of the talk about these P5s has been getting older in the transfer portal, but I think maybe to a certain extent there seems to be some benefit, certainly at our level, for getting guys who are younger, hungrier, and developing who want to, I hate to say it, but maybe use this chance to develop and maybe if they works out, go get a payday somewhere. It sucks. That's the reality of the current situation, but it's true. But still, maybe that's the way you have to succeed at our level of college basketball.
Yeah, I mean, you're getting the guy who, I mean, if you get older guys, you don't really know. Are they good because they're good, or because they're just kind of older than most of the people they're playing against? And then when they get up, it's like, oh no, everybody's old now. I'm not as physically advanced anymore. Uh, when you're getting these guys who are young, uh, they're I mean they're good earlier on. So you're in theory like this guy's on a good development track, and it's just you're happy. I mean, it just feels better when like, oh, this guy's another year. He could return. Uh, this guy's something to play for besides this year, which
Mm-hmm.
just kind of feels like, they might push a little harder, rather because I mean, generally your if you're a really good player, your senior year payday is going to be larger than anything you're getting overseas. That's just how
Yep.
the market is right now, and I think when guys can, as you said, use Mason as a stepping stone, it stinks that that's the situation, but uh, instead of kind of being upset at the situation, make the best of it, and that's what they're doing.
I think that's absolutely the case, Palmer, and that's just the case for the new day and age. But let's talk about these visits, Palmer. That's what we're kind of here to talk about. You released an article this afternoon, 3 visitors coming in over the next couple of days. Let's talk about the first one here, Efeosa Oliogu-Elabor. I don't know if I could have butchered that. I'm not going to lie. I could have absolutely butchered his name there. But Efeosa comes from Butler. He is taking visits to Mason as well as the Richmond College of Henrico Spiders over the next couple of days. A 6'6" wing player, rising sophomore, played a lot of time at Butler. He got about 11 minutes a game at Butler last year, so some decent minutes at a Big East school. But the defensive potential on this guy, Palmer, seems very high.
Yeah, I mean, this guy, he isn't Jared Billups, but like if you're looking for Jared Billups, this is the one that could be it. I don't expect the defensive player of the year, but he moves really well.
Billups.
Yeah,
the hypothetical Billups.
Yeah, the hypothetical Billups. Like you're not getting Billups again. That's just not happening. But
Yeah.
So people wanted Deshaun Harris-Smith reasonably, because connection to Tony Skinn, connection to the area. This is kind of a similar prospect to Deshaun Harris-Smith, except this guy will have 2 more years of eligibility, and he's earlier. He's frankly like pretty bad on offense. Like he can't really do much with the ball except like kind of do the fat hill where it's like I might just be faster than everybody else this time. Now Fat Hill did it a lot more often, but this guy can just kind of every once in a while, oh, the dribble worked and I'm at the rim now.
Yep.
Which is kind of what Jared Billups did. Yeah, it's very intriguing. Mason was kind of missing that lockdown defender last year, where we're just like, there's kind of just some okay defenders and some bad defenders out here, and Efeosa would be like a all defensive candidate preseason for sure. And I would assume that he would be Mason's point of attack defender, just taking all the best ball player.
I think that would be correct. And again, we talk about the age thing. I kind of love it. Let this young guy come in here, get a year or two of the program potentially. Let him build up. And maybe, you know what? Maybe if he's just a defensive stopper guy, Palmer, that's going to be fine by me. You know me. I don't mind winning ugly, Palmer, as long as we're winning. They don't say how. They say how many when it comes in the end, when it comes to, any potential hope of March Madness. That's what it is, Palmer. It's not how, it's how many. That is life. That's how it goes down. But let's talk about the guard that's potentially on visit this week. Let's talk about Jerone Morton out of Washington State Wazoo, the Cougars. He spent his first 2 years, though, at Morehead State, went to Washington State last year. He is the big draw, might be his 3-point shooting. Palmer, 39.2% from 3 last year. Interesting role there, potentially, as Mason does look for some shooting, as they have to replace the vast majority of their 3-point getters in the portal this year.
Yeah, I mean the returning shooters, the returning shooting was pretty bad. Because I mean Conga, and then O'Connor is good, but you need some. And then when you're looking at 2 forward, the 2 forwards so far, the shooting is not very plentiful right now. But this guy, I mean, 38.8%. And then what I find intriguing is the year before at Morehead State, he was more of a point guard and had a 26.6% assist rate. If you can combine those 2 seasons, that's really good.
Yep.
Like if you can get a 25% assist rate and like shooting 40% from 3, like that's Jahari Long. That's Jahari Long too. So that'd be awesome. 6'4" that's like I said, that's Jahari Long. That's a big point guard. What is it? Joe, who was the competition on this one?
Oh, Kansas State.
Kansas State. Okay, yeah. Because somebody said not the first time somebody's between Mason and Kansas State. So yeah, I mean that's a good.
I don't know. Wait, I forget. Who are you talking about?
Kim English.
Oh. I can't believe you brought that up. I can't believe
I
you brought
have,
that up. That's true, but that's great.
yeah, I see schools. I got to say it.
Hey,
But yeah, I
hey, I
mean, this guy,
respect it. I
there's
respect it.
potential here for a guy just to be
Yeah.
a really solid guard.
And a
Uh,
veteran leader potentially. You still
yes,
do need those veteran leaders within a squad,
yes.
especially if you're building up a squad of younger guys.
Mhm.
But then final visit. This is the one that's really intriguing, Palmer, because you got Adair, you got Marcuson, but to see Grant Randall's name still on the list here, just a super interesting prospect out of Quinnipiac. 6'9", but truly, he is truly like a wing forward here. Maybe probably the closest to Woody Newton out of this group, or at least the idea of Woody Newton. He's one of those guys that maybe you're a little bit surprised, I think he spent both of his years so far at Quinnipiac, and yeah, he has. Kind of, breakout year this year, strong shooting stats, kind of fell back a little bit from three in conference play. There's a lot of good things here. Low turnover rate. There's some fun stuff defensively. Maybe is Mason just trying to get bigger?
Yeah, I mean, as we mentioned, like the first two gets are forwards, and this visit is still happening. So clearly, this is not a this guy's positional versatility. This guy could be a huge three. 6'9" three in the A10 is just absurd. Because Woody was a big four. Woody was the four, and we thought that was a crazy. This guy could be a 6'9" and three,
Mm-hmm.
and moves well. I mean, moves like a three. Uh, he was offered. I feel like he might have been a priority, like a target at a high school. He went to Putnam, which is like that's the same Bonaventure school, which makes sense for Curran. Uh, yeah, this guy just kind of one of those where it's like he's just a really solid basketball player, and like this guy just got to be good. He's gonna be good wherever he goes. We also said about Dola, but I believe in this one more because there's like actual perimeter skills rather than like he can sit in the corner and kind of shoot. Uh, yeah, I mean, like you said, low turnover number, also low assist number, but we'll take it. And then defensive playmaking is pretty good with a pretty low foul rate. Uh, if you, in the MAC double A, uh, it's been decent recently. It's been decent recently. So I like this guy. I hope they can bring him in because that would just make. I mean,
He'd be fun. He'd be fun.
yeah, yeah, just
That's what
big.
matters to me. He'd be fun. Just, I don't mind if we have more talent. Add talent.
Yeah,
If we can pay for it, get it.
get it.
That type of sheesh. He will also take a visit to Cincinnati. Also that's a funny one as well. But this is kind of it's starting to come together, Palmer. It's starting to come together. Watch out for potentially Thursday night. We may do a spaces on the GK account, depending on how things trend out over the next 48 hours. If there's some more portal grabs, because we won't record again until this time next week, if I am correct. So we do a week-to-week basis. There's not really, and sadly, I don't really have time for emergency pods this weekend due to prior commitments in my life. So we would have to wait on the pod. So we may, depending on if there's any portal news over the next 2 days, watch out on the Giant Killer Twitter potential for a off-season spaces on there, kind of the first of the year. We also may be trying out live streaming one of these podcasts on the Twitter account. We've thought about it. We might be trying that out this offseason as a fun thing to do. So be on the lookout for that potentially. But for now, this is the end of this one, Palmer. 20 episodes this year. We're trying to get to between 22 and 25 on the year. I think we're going to hit that. But for now, this is the end. This has been the Onward to Victory podcast, your one-stop shop for all things George Mason basketball. I'm Joe Szymanski. He's Palmer Johnson. Palmer, the portal fun's just starting. The bad part is seemingly ended. Now comes the rebuilding part. We will see you guys next time. Thank you all for listening.